So you think you need nuclear power to keep the lights on? Well, let's talk about this. First word I want to talk about is legacy. My name's Peter Banks, banging on. One of the big problems that the nuclear power generation industry faces is this. It's what happens afterwards. It's not only what happens to the fuel and the materials that are used, the scientific equipment, everything to do with the production of nuclear power. It's what happens to that, which normally we call waste, and it's what happens to the station afterwards. And that process is called decommissioning before it goes into an acquiescent state, which is called care and maintenance. First thing we're going to talk about is waste. In the UK, principally there are three types of waste. There are other types of waste. I'm just going to read them to you. One is uranium tailings. These are the radioactive materials that remain after the ore is mined. There's transuranic waste. This is principally from weapons manufacture. And there is NORM, and NORM is an acronym, NORM, naturally occurring radioactive materials. In certain parts of the country there's a stronger natural level of radiation, and some people think, oh well, as it's in the air then it's okay, radiation is okay. Not so. So in the UK, as mentioned, there are three principal types. The first one is low level waste, and this can be generated from hospitals. It can be generated from the equipment used, and say gloves handling samples that are taken around the nuclear power station that is in operation to determine how much radiation there is, overalls. So it's low level, and this is bundled up and it's taken by road to a railhead and put on a train, and that generally goes to a place called Drigg in West Cumbria, which is the low level waste repository, and it's stored there in containers, kind of squat shipping containers. They're stacked on top of one another in a hopefully watertight what they call a lagoon. It's an absolutely huge space, typically the size of a football pitch or something like that, and when that's all filled up with these containers, maybe stacked 4 or 5 high, it'll be covered over, effectively sealed with vents, and left for years and years and years. Next type of waste is intermediate level waste. Now here on the East Coast we're quite familiar with that because they have built an intermediate level waste store, and this is to house temporarily the materials from the decommissioning of the Bradwell A site, and it is a bit of a waste dump for the East Anglia area, because it is going to be receiving waste from Sizewell and from Dungeness. So actually Dungeness is Kent, isn't it? So it's not just East Anglia, it is quite a wide part of the east and southeast. That is put into containers, and I think one of them is called a mosaic. Some of them are cylindrical, some of them are cuboid, and they're put into this waste store. They're monitored. It's pretty barn-like, and it can take up to, I think it's 160 containers, something of that order. And again, that will be monitored, but it's just left there until a permanent storage repository becomes available, which is one of a whole story in itself. And then finally you've got the high level waste, which only forms about 3%, and this is things like the spent fuel rods that have been used and maybe stored on site for a while, shipped up to Sellafield, which is not far from Drigg in West Cumbria, where some of them are reprocessed, but mainly they are stored there and will be stored for some time, and that's where they go to be dealt with. And then, as mentioned, there's the decommissioning part of the full power stations, And this is a legacy because if we take an example nearby here, Bradwell A, that is now nearly decommissioned and it's about to go into care and maintenance when it'll just need to be monitored. But within the 2 reactor buildings, the cores, the graphite cores in the reactor itself, although covered over, they will remain there for at least 80 years. Part of that is because they're not sure of how stable they are. They will still be high level radiation for a while, and also partly because they haven't actually figured out a way of safely extracting the graphite cores. We talked about a little bit earlier the idea of a permanent store or a permanent repository, and this is called a Geological Disposal Facility, GDF, Geological Disposal Facility. No. Anyway, it's not being built. It won't be built for 25 years. It was partly a prerequisite for any new nuclear power stations. It's going to be something underground, and at the moment there's consultation to get all sorts of people to volunteer to have this crud in their community, albeit underground, with huge financial benefits to that area. However, Cumbria's still being looked at. In the past, even Bradwell was looked at, and Bedford. It's a long-term problem that has not been solved, and it is essential that no new nuclear power stations are built, because it will just exacerbate the problem. That costs £3 billion per year. Now, albeit 2/3 of that does go to Sellafield. The huge work at Sellafield dealing with old plutonium from weapons, and just work that out for a minute. It's quite an easy mathematical equation to realise that each taxpayer in the UK, even if you're on a basic income, you're still paying £60 per year to decommissioning and waste. It's a horrendous price tag that could be with generations to come, as this waste may need to be around for 100,000 years. On that cheery note, I will leave you for today. Thank you for watching. It's Peter Banks. Please do subscribe, and I hope to see you again.